What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. I'm a little late to the party on this one compared to the Zeitgeist, I know, but I couldn't not talk about this one because this has been one of my happiest surprises of this year. So we are talking about another brawler today, and it is the latest in probably what is considered by many the most seminal brawler series of all time. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and it's a brand new title in the series. Not developed by Konami, who did all of the original ones, because, I mean, Konami barely makes video games anymore, but it was developed by probably the best people on the planet to do so. It comes from a studio in Montreal called Tribute Games, and they have made, up to this point, original titles, but they all sort of pay homage to older games and mechanics. This one, well, it's their first licensed title, and I have to say, they have created near brawler perfection. So, yeah, the brawler genre is one that I'm very fond of from my youth, but it's very hard to do in a non-arcade, designed to suck quarters out of you kind of way, because that was what the genre was all about. And making a brawler with modern sensibilities that isn't either incredibly shallow or just something that's frustrating is a fine needle to thread, and I dare say these guys have done it perfectly. So, what are the features of this? Well, I'm going to jump into a level to show you sort of the core gameplay here, and then we'll talk about all these features. So you have story mode and arcade mode. They both play similarly, except the arcade mode has basically higher difficulty and more limitations. The story mode, you can just kind of brute force your way through. The story in this game is very simple, much like the original arcade titles. There's a bad thing happening and you done gotta stop it. That's really all there is to it. And that's all you need from this. There's these little sort of single frame cutscenes in between levels that I think are done very well. So, you can select your character here. You got all four of the core turtles. You have April O'Neil, you have Splinter, and yes, this isn't really a spoiler because while he is locked at the beginning, you learn very quickly that you get him by finishing the game once, which is Casey Jones. So, as you can see here, they all have different statistics. They're all balanced fairly well, I think. You can easily beat the game with anybody. It's not like the original Konami arcade game where if you weren't playing Donatello, you were kind of at a disadvantage. They take all that into account here, and it works really well. Now, you may have seen there that there is a lot of join prompts there. Yeah, this game can have up to 6 people in it. 6. Yeah. And it's got full online play as well. That is one place where I'm sad to say it does fall down a little bit. The netcode in this game could definitely be better. It glitches a lot. You'll have a lot of desyncs. It seems to have improved a little bit, but you'll definitely have some issues with that there. So in the story mode here, you've got an overworld map, kind of like the Turtles platformer game that came out on the NES, but not nearly as brutal as that. I've obviously beaten the story mode already. You'll go through a number of different levels, spanning a number of environments. You'll fight tons of bosses, tons of different enemy types. None of the levels are particularly long, but they're not super short either. They strike a decent balance there. And yeah, it's a brawler. You know, you push the buttons and the guys done fall down. That's pretty much what it is. But this does have a number of things added to it that really elevate it and make it something that I think is very worthy in the modern era of brawlers. So, you're seeing there is a hit counter, there is challenges in each level that will just give you extra score. There's secrets to find that will do something very similar. Those secrets are also tied to the achievements. There is actually a fairly involved combo system and move list. The game does tutorialize this every time you start it, which is kind of a pain. You have to skip that all the time. But as you can see here, there's actually a fair bit to this. But it also, at least on the lower difficulties, you can just mash your way through it if you want, which, to be honest, is how most people played brawlers back in the day. Because they either didn't have a combo system, or you just didn't care. You just pushed the button and had your power fantasy, right? And that's what this does. So every character has basic moves that you can chain together with other button presses to execute specialized moves. You can run, you can do jump attacks, and every character also has a specialty attack like that. And you'll see there under my score in the top left, there's a meter. So you build that meter up one of two different ways, which is either by continuing to run an unbroken combo, and you see it's charged up there, so I can do this. Or alternatively, every character has a taunt, and they're all very different. Some are better than others, but what it is that if you can get through the taunt animation, which is a couple of seconds long, without taking a hit, which is easy to do between fights, not so much during them, then you will instantly fill up one segment of your combo meter. All the characters in story mode actually have levels to them as well. There's 10 levels that you get by increasing your score. You're going to see here that this game also shares something in common with the old Konami titles, which is the very odd, 1 and 2 point scoring system. I don't know why, but when Konami made the Turtles, not only the Turtles game, but some of the other brawlers they made, that was the scoring system they used. You got 1 point per kill, and you got more kills for bosses and certain higher level enemies. So the way this works is that the score in story mode is persistent. So if you keep playing, that score is going to stick around, and you will level it up as you go by hitting certain milestones. You'll get things like extra maximum life. You'll get up to 3 levels of your combo meter. So you can either have 3 stored in reserve or use them all to do sort of a move that gives you sort of god level attack power for a little while effectively. You'll get extra health. You'll get things that will make your subsequent playthroughs of story mode and playing it on higher difficulties easier to do. And it's a slick system. I really like it. You can play both the arcade mode and the story mode in co-op, and like I said, up to 6 players online. We might actually try to jump in here and see. We're just about at the end of this stage. I might try to jump on and just show you the unmitigated chaos that is full 6-player online. I played it with a couple of other streamers, and it's insane. It's just nothing but constant madness happening on the screen, and it's great. I love it. It's so much dumb fun, and it just has a huge smile on your face the whole time. I've never seen any brawler that actually has 6-player co-op period, let alone online. So really impressive what they've done there. And I mean, there's been other videos about this out there already, but you can tell that this was made by people who have an absolute love and reverence for the original series that Konami did. This game is so chock full of not only similar oddball mechanics to what those games had, but there's just references all over this to the old games, to the old cartoon series, to some of the newer cartoon series. This is something where if you're a relatively recent Turtles fan, or if like me, you really only watched the 1980s kids show and then never really followed them much after that, there's something here for everybody, and something that will tickle your nostalgia bone. And they've done just such a masterful job, and you can't get this kind of quality and that kind of attention to detail from people who are not absolutely in love with the source material. If this was just some contract game that, the devs put together and they said, hey, make a new brawler out of TMNT, they could go, oh, sure. Even some of the mechanical innovations that this game has, they might have been able to do. So there we go. I just leveled up Michelangelo. And they could have pulled it off, and they could have made it perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But yeah, this is just everything about this just keeps a smile on your face the whole time. I've beaten this game multiple times over now because I'm intending to get all the achievements for it, and I only have one left, which is to level all the characters, which is actually no small feat. So there was a quick that was the interstitial there. I skipped it just because I don't want to spoil too much here. But yeah, you can just simply hit a button and find other parties. Like here's one right here that's full of people. It's very easy to get into a game. I have run into a lot of desyncs, and almost every game you get into, it shows the other user on high ping, at least on Xbox PC, which is what I'm playing on right now. Maybe it's better on Steam, or on the consoles, it's similar. It's serviceable, but you will have issues sometimes where, like, one of the common things that I ran into that was really funny was, like, I'd be in a screen not seeing anything going on, but all the characters are jumping around because everyone else is fighting because they could see enemies, but for me, they just never spawned in. And I was like, what? But it doesn't happen too often, and it's usually not that big a deal. And as you can see here, Like, this is just nuts. It's just everybody's attacks are flying everywhere, and it's hard to even keep track of where your character's at. And I love it. It's great. It's completely ridiculous. It's just good, dumb fun. And it's a brawler that has depth for people who want to spend time learning combos and trying to do all the challenges and perfecting the levels and even 1CCing it and things like that. But if you've got people who are not really hardcore gamers, but who, you know, just want to relive some arcade nostalgia of mashing buttons and taking out the Foot Clan, it can accommodate those people too. It really can serve all ends of the spectrum of brawler fans. And that is such a hard line to tread, because brawlers, like I said, either are often so short and so shallow that they're not that fun, or they get old super quick, or they're designed for much more hardcore players because they don't necessarily have a lot of content, and the challenge is what sort of keeps things going for people, which means for casual players they're just frustrating. And this appeals to everyone, and it does it in such a great way and with really smart quality of life additions that give you all the nostalgia without any of the baggage that comes from that. You know what I mean? And there's another reference there. I'm not going to spoil that one, but a lot of you are going to know that and grin right there. So as you can see, there's just, and it's just bristling with personality. The art in this is absolutely fantastic. Tribute Games nails pixel art like nobody else can. And the soundtrack in this is equally great. It's got that, like, some of the best 16-bit music ever made came out of the Turtles games. And there is just so much, it's crazy high energy, and it's super memorable, but it's also very different and unique. It's not like anything you've really heard, and they maintain that here. And there were so many, even on the musical front, there's so many hidden pieces in this. Like the title song in this is sung by Mike Patton of Faith No More. And apparently he did it just because he's a huge fan of TMNT, and he was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. There's a couple of songs in here. I'm blanking on the artist right now, but like one of these songs, one of the songs in this game has like somebody, I think from the Wu-Tang Clan singing it or something like that. And they're all very, you know, they're all very obviously wholesome songs that'd be fine to play for kids, right? But all of this is just because these people love this stuff so much, and they have such a reverence for it, and they're just like, yeah, I want to, you know, I'll get involved in that. And it just, everything about this game and the way it's put together, it just makes you smile, because it's just fun, and it's not too easy, not too hard. It has really hard challenge. There's a mode called Gnarly, which is the hardest difficulty mode, which is there for people who really want that. It's got Easter eggs everywhere. There's secrets to find. There's challenges. There's leaderboard. There are online leaderboards. There's all of these crazy things. I'm going to bail out here so we can check some other stuff. Yeah, the achievements in it will take some time and challenge, but they're not crazy, and they're not brutally unfair. You know, like I said, I'm down to only one left, and it's basically just because it takes a while to grind all the characters out to their full capabilities. But so here's what the arcade mode is: limited lives, continues, and no save progression. So whereas story mode, obviously once you've beaten it like I have, you can just go back to it if you want. And all the characters play very differently. They're not just variations on a theme. They all do things differently and add a lot of value to things. And of course, you got the vehicle levels, which used to frustrate the heck out of everybody, and this kind of will too, a little bit. But there's just, I have such a hard time finding fault with this. This is honestly possibly a perfect brawler. You know, I'm sure there's a few things that people could find out about it. Yes, the netcode really bugs me. Some of the little things like, you know, not being able to skip cutscenes without a long button press, or the fact that you have to skip the tutorial every time you bring the game up, things like that are annoying, but they're all really minor quips. I really don't think, you know, I'm going to cover another brawler after this video, actually, that is a modern brawler that does things very differently than this and in a much more old school way. And that has its appeal as well. But I really can't think of many teams beyond Tribute Games who could have nailed the combination of modern quality of life while also appealing to necessary nostalgia the way these guys did. They have done an absolutely immaculate job. And I just couldn't be happier with the result. When I heard that Tribute was making this originally, I was like, yeah, okay, this is probably going to be good. I didn't expect it to be this good. I didn't expect 6-player co-op. I didn't expect all the amazing soundtrack to this. Like, apparently the soundtrack itself has been in huge demand on Spotify and the like since this game came out. Yeah, I didn't expect the variance in characters and yet how fairly well balanced they all are. I didn't expect the campaign to be as long as it is. Like, this could easily take you 2 to 3 hours to get through one playthrough of. That's huge for a brawler. Unless it's one that's super artificially difficult, that's a pretty beefy length of time for a brawler. And you know, I hope that this is done very well, so I hope that they can do more to it, like what they did with Streets of Rage 4. I haven't actually covered this, but they added what was called the Mr. X mode, which was like a really cool wave-based survival mode. This would be perfect for a game like this. And it was a really cool system where you went through different levels, and it was almost a roguelike in terms of the way you picked up power-ups after each wave. And it's actually really good. I still play it on a regular basis, that add-on. I would love to see something like that done for this. And this game has done so incredibly well, I can't see them not wanting to add more to it over time. It would shock me, frankly. But yeah, this is just, I think, an absolute world-class example of how to do brawlers in the modern era. And Tribute needs all the kudos in the world for that, because if there was one series, probably more than any other, that you did not want to screw up a remake of, it was this, if you're thinking of old arcade series. And I think they did as good a job as anyone could have asked for. This is everything that I wanted and more on top of that. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think if you have any nostalgia for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you absolutely need to play this. If you like brawlers, you absolutely need to play this. Even if you're a casual player who's not into brawlers, really, I think you still need to give this a try. And at time of recording, this is on Game Pass, so it couldn't be easier to get it, but it is everywhere, and there's even crossplay between some platforms, not all of them, unfortunately, but there is actual online crossplay between certain systems, which can make it a little easier as well. That's one of the reasons that there's still such a huge population playing this. Right now, finding online games is dead easy. You hit the button and you'll have tons of choices available to you. You really shouldn't miss this. Even if you're not into brawlers, give it a try, because I think you'll be surprised by it. This has been, you know, I figured this would be good. Because it was Tribute Games, I figured this would be good. I had no thought in my mind that it would be this good. I have just been blown away by this, much in the same way I was blown away by Streets of Rage 4. That was also really good, but this goes even further than that did. And kudos to them. I really hope they get to make more stuff like this, and I hope we get to see this one expanded on, because this is something we need more of. And I think the success of this proves it. There is still a market for brawlers out there, and for ones that are intelligently made, and I think the formula has been figured out for everybody. So yes, indeed. So that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Play it, trust me, it's absolutely worth it. It is. I've beaten this several times over now, and I'm still loving it. I'm probably going to beat this run after this because I want to get all these characters leveled up. It's near brawler perfection. It really, really is. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you like what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Leave a comment down below. Tell me have you played this? What did you think of it? How do you think it holds up to the original? What's your favorite of the old Turtles games? Because that's a subject of some debate amongst a lot of enthusiasts. And what other brawlers are out now that you are really interested in? The brawler genres, like some other genres, kind of making a little bit of a comeback, and I'm very happy about that. And don't miss my next video, because we're going to be talking about another modern brawler that's very different from this one, but that I think you should also check out because it's got its own thing going for it. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover indie and retro stuff over there, a lot of stuff you won't see over here on YouTube. I have a great community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next Indie Ramble. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take it easy.